This matter originally came up as filed by the public defender initially, an emergency motion to release or change the bond in this case.
Welcome to Trial Truth, where the courtroom isn't just about verdicts, it's about humanity, tension, and raw judgment under pressure. Today, we step into the world of Judge Simpson, a man known for balance and compassion, but unafraid to challenge the rigid systems of law. What begins as a simple bond hearing soon unravels into a moral test, pitting public safety against empathy for a struggling veteran suffering from cognitive decline. This is not your average case. We're talking about a Vietnam veteran, accused of threatening his neighbor, now standing before the court as his wife pleads for mercy and understanding. It's a story that raises one hard question. How do you punish someone whose mind is slipping away? Stay with us, because by the end of this hearing, the judge's decision will challenge every notion of justice and compassion you've ever believed in.
There was then, I don't know if Mr. Margolis filed one or not, but maybe not. But then a stipulation in order to amend bond came over. The court has not signed that. All of this relates to a conditional bond violation, which occurred on June 29th, I do believe at 8:35, or I'm sorry, 18:35, in the city of Ann Arbor regarding contact and other things. So I don't know who wants to begin in terms of the stipulation, because the court had some questions regarding the stipulation specifically. Are these townhouses, or how are the houses right next to each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that
single family homes?
got it? And fundamentally, I guess the court's thing, because while I received the stipulation, I don't have much documentation to go along with that, which I had initially requested, I think, of the public defender. And then when you came in, Ms. Margolis.
I apologize. I was not aware. I have a neuropsych report, and I also have letters from the VA as well as Michigan Medicine relative to his cognitive disorders.
I'm not in terms of Mr. Penn's cognitive state. That is not an issue for the court. More an issue for the court is making sure that he can be released safely, number one, and where I don't want to set him up for further.
Here, the judge steps beyond law into humanity. He's not just talking about legality. He's considering logistics, safety, and dignity. In modern courts, conditional release means balancing two fears: a public risk and a human's right to freedom. Judge Simpson's empathy shows, yet he keeps his reasoning structured. His goal is preventing another cycle of arrest, not delivering punishment. That's rare judicial restraint. This is what separates a technician of the law from a practitioner of justice. For viewers, it's worth noting. Most bond decisions aren't moral debates, but here, compassion and caution collide in real time.
I guess difficulties where something happens and then he's had enough of a problem being arrested, brought in. I don't want to see that happen again. And so it's not an issue of questioning necessarily anybody's commitment to what's contained here. It's more satisfying myself that there's enough in place to stop that from occurring, because I think that probably causes much more of a stressor on Mr. Pence than anything else when that this type of circumstance occurs. Most of my questions, well, one of the primary questions, I'll just say, from the police report I referenced was whether or not there are firearms in the home. And I think that has been answered by the affidavit of his wife.
There's no firearms. No.
No firearms at all.
No firearms at all. All right.
Never had firearms.
Got it. Okay. The daily care, I won't say care, but there's references in here that he'll be supervised around the clock. And I guess I need to be clear on how that's going to occur and what pieces are in place to make sure that happens.
Understood. So our initial, first I'll let the court know that we being the family, they're on a wait list. He is on a wait list for Brecken Village Memory Care Center.
Got it.
He is also a veteran. He's a Vietnam veteran, and I bring that up because he has resources through the VA. If we are able to obtain his release, the first person we're going to go see is we're going to take him right to the VA hospital. Is that correct?
That is correct.
This is a strategic move by defense counsel. Taking the defendant directly to the VA shows immediate accountability and medical awareness. It transforms the narrative from criminal negligence to medical misfortune. The VA's involvement reframes this entire bond hearing. It's no longer about a dangerous man, but about a veteran needing structured supervision. For anyone watching, this underscores how mental health and criminal law constantly intersect. It's also a subtle tactic, giving the judge reassurance that this release won't end in another police call. The defense isn't just pleading, they're planning. That's how you rebuild trust in a courtroom.
VA hospital emergency to have him checked to see if he needs to be admitted. He has an appointment with his primary. He had one yesterday, but that was reset.
Is this Miss Sanchez Pence?
Yes.
Ma'am, I didn't mean to be you can come up to the podium.
Please.
You're
Sorry
the one.
about
You're the one that.
It's more important to hear from.
Yeah. And can you state your name, please, ma'am?
My legal name is Juana Sanchez Pence.
All right. All right.
We also, so while we wait to hear, and she can let us know what the time frame is for Brecken Village. But we also have we have time respite care with the VA that's been approved for a certain number of hours per week. That I believe is going to be increased based upon our conversations with the VA.
When you're saying respite care, you mean around the clock in-home care?
Not necessarily from the VA. I wanted to be clear. I want to not give the court any false representations. We also have, because it's not 24-hour care from the VA respite people, we also have enlisted social workers as well as certain private caretakers.
Okay. Social workers are from?
Please stand.
Yeah.
This is Miss Lutz, Melanie Lutz.
Hello.
So I'm a retired social worker with a current license. I'm a longtime friend of James.
Got it. Okay. Mr. Emmons, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now, Your Honor. Yep.
All right. Very good.
Video
For whatever
froze.
reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what happened. All right. Ma'am, you were saying.
I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
It's okay. It's all right.
About the people you had in place to assist you if you needed to go to the store,
Yes.
and the steps you're taking to make sure he's 24/7 supervised in arm's reach, so to speak.
Right.
This section highlights how deeply courts probe into daily life logistics during bond hearings. It's not intrusive, it's protective. The judge wants to confirm round-the-clock supervision. He knows that even small gaps in care can lead to incidents that become headlines or worse. This moment shows the quiet weight of responsibility placed on caretakers. You can feel the exhaustion in the wife's voice and the judge's concern bleeding through his professionalism. The courtroom becomes less about rules and more about realism. What happens after everyone leaves? Would you be able to manage 24-hour care for someone you love while juggling your own life?
Okay. So, and I guess I was getting to the point, because I couldn't remember my question either. I was getting to the point of this involving a neighbor, and that, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Part of the reason I was concerned about a firearm is because allegedly there was a threat that he was going to get a gun and shoot,
Who?
that Mr. Pence was. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you that because I'm not asking these questions, or my concern doesn't sort of just come out of a vacuum.
I was not aware of that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's one of the reasons, for example, given his circumstances, I've been kind of deliberate in trying to act because I didn't know if there were firearms. I don't, and I'm trying to place where the houses are to each other, both for the safety of the neighbor, but also for the safety of Mr. Pence, because I didn't want a circumstance where he's there, somehow is unsupervised, then the neighbor comes over, figures nobody's doing anything, and does something to him. So just so that you know, I'm sorry, man, I did not know that you weren't aware that had been said and represented. And that's one of the reasons why it's kind of where it is now. Okay. You also may not have been aware, maybe again you were or not, that I guess he was over banging on the windows of the neighbors.
This revelation reframes the whole incident. The neighbor wasn't imagining things. There was real confrontation, complete with banging and shouting. The judge's surprise is genuine, yet measured. This transparency in the courtroom, the wife learning details for the first time, is raw and emotional. It shows how fragmented communication can be between law enforcement, defense, and family. The humanity in this exchange is striking. You can feel the embarrassment, confusion, and quiet sorrow of a family struggling against a system built on procedure, not compassion. The case has now shifted from mere legal analysis to moral tension, safety versus sympathy.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry that you're finding out this way. He was over banging on the windows, screaming at the neighbors. The neighbors, as I am gathering from the report, were screaming back. Mr. Pence allegedly responds that he's gonna, I think, end up shooting them up or something along those lines. Okay. And that's how we got there. Once, to be honest with you, for me, initially upon reading that, I was very concerned. Once upon getting sort of preliminary information regarding Mr. Penn's conditions, both from the jail and from the public defender's office, my view of everything kind of changed. But I wanted to make sure that I was taking the proper steps and the proper things that were in place for the reason I told you before, for his safety as well as the neighbor's safety. Let me ask you this, Ms. Pence. Is the neighbor aware of Mr. Penn's circumstances?
This moment is crucial. Community awareness. The judge asks the right question. When neighbors know about medical conditions, empathy often replaces hostility. But when they don't, every act of confusion looks like aggression. The wife's answer reveals years of quiet apologies and social fatigue. It's not just about one outburst. It's about a long-term erosion of understanding. Judge Simpson's question reflects modern community policing philosophy: prevention through communication. It's also a subtle plea to society. Know your neighbors before you fear them, because misunderstanding can escalate faster than any legal defense can fix.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I would continuously apologize when I heard my husband yelling at him due to noise. He's extremely sensitive to noise. My husband. And he would yell at him, "Where you have that so noisy?" And he knows, all my neighbors know, all my nearby neighbors know. And so he knows, and I would apologize. I'm sorry. His situation, the noise upsets him, and this is what he does. And I would apologize to the neighbor continuously.
And some of them, I'm sure, as our world, are more accepting than others, right? Okay, all right. So, you said he was on a waiting list.
We are on a waiting list to move. We have to move. We're on a waiting list to move
You're gonna,
out of our home. We have no choice. Unfortunately, we have no choice. So we're moving, but we're on a waiting list. And so in the meantime, he's not going to go in that driveway.
and let me ask you this. You have no choice because of what?
Because I don't want him to get into another altercation. I just don't want him to get into another altercation with a neighbor.
This is the heart of it. A wife choosing to move from her home to protect her husband from himself. That's not law. That's love meeting exhaustion. Her tone says everything. She's done defending to strangers. She's now defending from circumstance. It's the kind of sacrifice the courtroom rarely acknowledges. Judge Simpson's pause after this line isn't just procedural, it's emotional processing. You can see he's weighing not just the law, but the burden of aging, illness, and dignity. This is where real justice lives, not in the verdict, but in the struggle to be humane within it.
And that's the reason. Every old person wants to age in their home, but that's not going to happen. I have to move him because I don't want him to get into trouble again for something that he does due to his illness. And that's what we're going to do. I just don't want anything close for him to come here again.
Perhaps the court is wondering if there is supervised care with 24-hour. Are you confident that there won't be any
I am
trouble?
confident right now there won't be. Yes.
And you want to get help with his care. And that's why you've contacted people. That's why Ms. Lutz is willing. You'll have support.
How long have you been in your home?
I'm
How
sorry.
long have you and him been in your home?
Oh my goodness. Let me think back here. 87, 86, mid 80s, maybe 87, 85. Oh, 85. He retained numbers. I don't.
Good memory, sir.
Amazing.
Good
Oh
memory.
my goodness.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
How long have the two of you been married?
I'm sorry.
How long have the two of you been married?
We were together for 7 years and we got legally married in 1988.
So a while.
A while, yes. We've had ups and downs.
As with all marriages, right? Okay. If we were to plot out a day, how do you see the care working for him? I mean, you'll be there most of the time, right? Is that the idea?
The judge's question might sound mundane, but it's pivotal. Courts are not just moral arbiters. They are logistical planners. Judge Simpson knows that daily structure can prevent chaos. The defense's response outlines a patchwork of caregivers, VA staff, private help, and social workers, a web of partial safety. Yet between those lines, we hear exhaustion. This is where law meets human limitation. A 14-hour care schedule sounds solid on paper, but what happens in the hour between shifts? The judge is probing for those cracks, because in those cracks, tragedy often begins. It's not legal suspense. It's human fragility under legal observation.
I will be there when there's caregivers as well, but I will be there, especially when there's no caregivers. I have lined up I will line up caregivers for certain days, and that allows me to run the errands that I need to. But I will be there all the time.
Walk the judge through a particular regular day.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Here's what I'm trying to figure out. And sometimes my questions, maybe in this stuff, aren't coming out clear. In a day, who do you anticipate being there? I mean,
Right now, I have assistance from the VA, and there's someone who comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays for 5.5 hours a day.
gotcha. On
And
2 days a week, it's
She
gonna
comes there 2 days a week, and it'll be 7 and I hope to divide it into 3 days, 14 hours right now from the VA, and that will increase eventually. I'm talking to some people. And then I've got my girlfriend who's flexible. She's retired. She's a clinical social worker, so she's flexible. And I had an interview with another woman today from Divine Grace and Tender Care Home Care, and they will assist me as well. So I'll put a schedule on the days that Dawn, our caregiver, will not be there, so that this other caregiver can be there on 5-7 hours a day, and I'll be there on the afternoons, sort of like in the middle of the day. He gets up late, goes to sleep. He sleeps a lot, so I will be there during those hours, and I'll put the schedule together so that when he has the waking hours, the caregivers are there.
got it. Okay. And Mr. Margolis, you mentioned that he was going to go to the VA and he may be hospitalized. Is that?
So my understanding, and Mrs. Pence can bring this out further, but my understanding is that I talked to the VA today actually, and they said, well, just take him right to the ER and they will check him out.
Here, the defense plays their strongest card: medical intervention. By routing Mr. Pence through the ER, they invite medical accountability. It's a subtle yet powerful legal shield. If the hospital clears him, liability shifts away from the court. Judge Simpson's response shows strategic listening. He's calculating risk distribution. But beneath that, there's a deep moral tension. The system keeps passing responsibility like a hot potato, from jail to VA to the judge. Each step is less about care and more about protection from blame. This moment forces us to ask, is justice about ensuring safety or avoiding responsibility?
And if they don't believe he's, quote, fit to go home, they are going to hold him, is my understanding. Is that yours?
Okay, so let me.
Yeah.
Fit in which way? So.
Vitals are okay.
Right. So physically, they would keep him if he's not able to go home.
It's my understanding.
But mentally and cognitively, what's their posture on that? If he's not fine in that respect with them, are they going to keep him or?
Your Honor, I don't know if my husband has been taking his medications. He takes medications that help with the agitation.
Got it.
As part of treating the symptoms of Alzheimer's. He takes medication for seizures. He takes medication because he had a heart attack. He takes medication for the agitation. So he takes quite a bit of medication, and I don't know if he's been taking the medication. And I was told by the doctor, just go ahead and take him to the ER, have him checked out real quickly, and see, I can take him home and start him on his medication regimen again.
Got it. Okay. Just trying to think of a way to put this without you looking like a bad guy or me looking like, I mean, I don't, but I just need to know this information. If he goes home and he's at home, this one neighbor, what's your best guess as to their response? And here's the reason I'm asking. I'm not trying to say anybody's a bad person.
This question cuts to the nerve of community tension. The judge is anticipating friction, not waiting for it. He's doing what most judges don't: scenario testing. He knows the next crisis won't come from law enforcement, but from human impatience. The neighbor has already felt threatened. The defendant feels misunderstood. This isn't about guilt, it's about probability. In bond hearings like this, judges aren't just weighing facts, they're forecasting human emotion. That's rare judicial empathy. For anyone watching, this moment shows the real difficulty of rehabilitation. You can manage behavior, but not always other people's reactions.
What I don't want is I'm also trying to figure out, and I don't want to see happen, or at least have an understanding. I don't want him provoked to where he then responds. Did that make any sense?
I totally understand. The area where my husband can see the neighbor is only in the driveway area. We're going to stay away from the driveway area. In the backyard, there's a tall fence. They cannot see us. We cannot see them. He lives with his girlfriend.
Okay, so you have a privacy fence in the back?
Yes.
Wooden privacy fence?
Yes.
Got it.
And so the only area that is open and exposed is the driveway. That's the only area that's exposed.
And not to speak for Mr. Emmons, Your Honor, but I believe that Mr. Emmons did contact me, and that's why the driveway is actually part of that proposed, or the stip in the proposed order, because Mr. Emmons, and I'll let him speak, spoke to the neighbor, and that's what he said to me, is we need to keep him off the driveway as best we can. Is that right, Mr. Emmons?
That's correct, Mr. Margolis. I did have an opportunity to speak to the neighbor and the victim of both of these matters in anticipation of the stipulation. And I kind of tried to assess him out and where he's at, and with the understanding of what we could do to try and facilitate him coming back home until such a time that he could go to Brecken, whatever the facility is. And he said that the driveway seems to be the biggest thing. He was like, can you just keep him in the home? And I said, well, there might be, obviously he's going to have to leave the home for appointments and stuff.
The prosecutor's phrasing says everything. Just keep him in the home. It sounds simple, but it's loaded with fear. Driveways, yards, sidewalks, spaces we see as ordinary become flashpoints when emotions run high. For the prosecutor, this is about minimizing future conflict. For the defense, it's about preserving dignity. And for the judge, it's about deciding whether fear should dictate freedom. This is a perfect example of why criminal law often collides with aging and mental decline. Should we restrict an elderly veteran's right to stand on his own driveway because others feel unsafe? Where does caution end and discrimination begin?
And he goes, the driveway seems to be like the biggest catalyst. That seems to be the thing where the issues tend to arise the most often. And he said and I'm sorry, I'm kind of forgetting. He said I was like, well, what if you wanted to go for a walk with a caregiver or something? Just kind of thinking, I guess if you were to go out the front door and go, I can't remember if it was left or right. But there was one way that he could go, and he would not have any contact, would not have to cross in front of the neighbor's house. So as long as he stayed, that direction, and stayed out of the driveway, he didn't foresee that there would be any problems. I mean, obviously, I think the complainant in this matter is going to be concerned no matter what, but I talked to him about that, and I wanted to make sure that he was, understanding and as comfortable as he could be. And I think this is what he's the one that said, the driveway needs to be addressed.
But I've got some problems with that. And that is, and I these are separate driveways. So it's not like it's a shared driveway. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, and Mr. Emmons, maybe you can clarify it for me. Is it, I mean, if I release Mr. Pence, what I'm concerned about is I'm not looking to restrict his use of his property, because
She had a comment.
Here I go, because see, I'm going to be I'll try not to say what I'm really thinking, but what I'm really thinking is this. There are people that have difficulties on our planet and in our society. It doesn't mean that we get to just hide them.
This is Judge Simpson's defining moment. He steps out of the judicial shell and speaks as a citizen, even as a moral philosopher. His words, "We don't get to just hide them," strike at the heart of modern justice. Society often prefers invisibility over understanding. This speech reframes disability not as a nuisance, but as part of the human condition the law must face, not bury. Few judges say what everyone thinks, that comfort often wins over compassion. But here, Simpson puts it on record. Visibility is dignity. It's not law, it's leadership. This is courtroom humanity at its highest point.
And if we don't see them, then feel better. We just don't get to do that. I mean,
I don't disagree with the court at all.
and you know what? And I know you're not down here, Mr. Emmons, but I'm just going to say this also. I see Miss Sanchez Pens up here, and as she walked up, I'm looking at the two of them look at each other. It seems to me, and this is a feeling, I might be wrong, she just loves him more than life itself and is willing to do anything. But I'm not going to place her in a position, because I know she, just based upon the conversation, feels that she should be the one responsible for it. And I get that. But Mr. Pence, if he wants to walk on his driveway and say nothing to anybody, why can't he say that? Why can't he do that? Yes.
Your Honor, when I've heard my husband, I'm inside doing my things inside the house, and I hear a loud voice right next door. I see my husband, he may be yelling from the side of our driveway because the noise is loud. I quickly go downstairs and I get my husband, stop that. And he listens to me. Several times he listens to me. He goes to the backyard, we go inside. I get his agitation down. So that's not a problem. Now, I'm not going to allow him to be in the driveway by himself.
Okay.
I will be with him.
Her answer lands with quiet finality. I will be with him. No defense attorney could craft a better statement. It's love as a legal argument. The courtroom, often filled with paper and policy, falls silent under the weight of sincerity. The judge knows this isn't empty promise. It's survival. Her voice carries the fatigue of endless vigilance, yet her conviction is iron. This is the human counterweight to systemic coldness. No law can enforce love, yet here it becomes the deciding factor. You can almost feel the courtroom collectively rooting for her, a wife holding her world together by sheer will.
Okay, I get that. Well, but this, the way I read this stipulation, maybe that's my problem, is that he, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I read this stipulation is Mr. and Mrs. Pence can't be in the driveway at all.
So that was an added part after I spoke with Mr. Emmons. And it said they can transport as long as they can go to and from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually have it right direct.
So here's my problem with that. My problem with that is, how long was he in the service?
Sweetheart, how long were you in the Army?
16 hours. How long?
He said 15 or 16 years. No,
It wasn't quite that.
no.
Okay.
It's hours, actually. You were in Vietnam, yes? George, you did one or two tours.
It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
He's a vet. It's okay. He's a veteran. My point to all of that is,
Your Honor,
I am not going to stop somebody that fought for this country from being able to walk up and down his driveway with his wife. I asked that order is not happening.
Judge Simpson's statement is raw and patriotic. In that instant, the courtroom transforms from a site of punishment into one of redemption. This isn't about sentimentality. It's about recognition. A veteran's service doesn't excuse misconduct, but it contextualizes it. The judge's refusal to strip a veteran's basic freedom over a driveway dispute is symbolic resistance to bureaucratic dehumanization. His tone shows frustration with a system too quick to confine. This is where law bends toward justice, where compassion overrides caution without losing control. This is judicial courage, and you can feel its weight in every syllable.
Now, if I have to place an order that he can't yell at the neighbor, that he can't do this, then fine, that's fine. But I mean, right now I'm mad that they're going to have to move out of their home. I mean, I get it, and I get people have to make their life's decisions, but you're making the decision because others can't seem to understand him, and the very fact that they have the right to file the complaint is because of people like him that went and preserved your right to be able to do it. Something, maybe I'll step off my soapbox, but I'm just all right. So somehow or another, this order needs to be refashioned because I'm not prohibiting him from going down the driveway. If what he thinks, and whether it be right, wrong, or indifferent, that he wants to take, let's say it's just a romantic stroll holding hands with his wife down the driveway, well, darn it, he's going to be able to do it.
This is the emotional climax. The judge's tone softens, but his conviction hardens. This line isn't about romance. It's about reclaiming autonomy. In a system obsessed with control, Simpson draws a line in the sand. Compassion must trump paranoia. He's saying, in essence, dignity doesn't stop at the end of your driveway. This single moment redefines what justice looks like for vulnerable citizens. It's not leniency, it's proportionality. The judge sees the man, not the file. For anyone watching, this is why context matters. Laws exist for order, but humanity gives them purpose.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
we have a garage, so the garage is narrow. So we actually I pulled the car out and then he goes in. So he needs to use the driveway temporarily.
Ma'am, here's my point. All right. I hear you. I mean, you're going to do everything that you possibly can so this doesn't happen again. And I get that. But I'm not going to place you in a position where you're sitting there worried that if you're not exiting right at that moment, somebody decides, that's not going to happen. If he goes out and sits on a lawn chair in the middle of the driveway and does nothing, I don't care if anybody doesn't want to see him. If he's not doing anything to anybody, it doesn't matter to me. You follow me? I just have a very different approach to that. And I don't want to see you or the people that you would have come in trying to care for him in that position that if he wants to go out for a driveway and all of a sudden he decides he's not going to listen and he's just walking down his own driveway, that's not going to be a bond violation. It's not going to happen. Now, I don't know, Mr. Emmons, are you going to feel comfortable? I mean, quite frankly, I can just order it, so it doesn't really matter, but I'd rather it be a circumstance where the neighbor could understand that I'm not ordering that. I will order him to stay off of his driveway.
Of course.
But I'm not ordering him to stay off his own driveway.
I think that the issue that we were trying to address, Your Honor, is that it seems that if the defendant becomes aware of the presence of the complainant, it almost acts as if some kind of an irresistible impulse. I can't say that I know Mr. Pence or Mr. Latotsky, the complainant in this matter. I don't know their entire situation. I happen to be the one that got the police report for the newest incident while I was on duty for the 4th of July. And so I'm the one that charged it. That brings me here. In speaking with Mr. Latotsky, that's the situation.
So is there another case?
There's a case out of there's a misdemeanor case for the door window that happened on the 29th of June.
In Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Same
Yes.
place. Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's what the idea of the driveway was, is to try and prevent that, I'm just using the terminology, but that kind of irresistible impulse so that, the victim doesn't feel like he needs to be confined to his home and there's not some kind of, issue that's going to arise. It's kind of to try and put a plug in that.
And that's why I think, Mr. Emmons, we put that provision about not being unaccompanied on the driveway in the end of the stip.
The prosecutor's logic is technically sound but emotionally tone-deaf. Irresistible impulse is a genuine psychological term, yet here it's weaponized to justify fear-driven restrictions. It's a glimpse of how legal systems overcorrect, removing human agency for safety optics. Judge Simpson, however, doesn't take the bait. He knows control without compassion is tyranny in disguise. This clash isn't personal, it's philosophical. Do we protect society by confining its weakest or by building systems of understanding? It's a debate every courtroom faces but rarely voices so directly. Simpson's refusal to sign that clause isn't rebellion, it's restoration of reason.
Right. It says, defendant shall not be unaccompanied on the driveway at any time. I understood that there was going to be, that he would need to be, leave by way of the driveway. Like I definitely understood that. And
Well, hold it. I see the end, but it says it is further agreed and stipulated defendant shall not make use of the driveway unless entering the garage to enter or exit the home. And then there's the provision about he should not be accompanied on the driveway at any time. And then is very specific that defendant may use driveway to enter and exit his garage for transport, but not be permitted to sweep it or otherwise remain on driveway.
So that's after I spoke with Mr. Emmons as well as.
I get it.
Just
I get it.
trying to make people.
I'm not signing that.
Yeah, I think if the order included
I'm not.
that he's.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I am not signing that.
Yeah.
So because I'm not going to restrict him in that way. I am not going to say he can't go out on his driveway. I'm not going to say that he can't sweep his driveway. If you want me to tell him he can't yell at the neighbors, I'll tell him he can't yell at the neighbors. But I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Well, I'm fine if Your Honor wants to just make a verbal order that I can.
But see, here's the thing. The problem that I have is I don't know Miss Pent, but I'll tell you, just in listening to her, she's going to do everything in her power to make sure what happens is the right thing. I just don't have a doubt. But she can't be, I know she can't be everywhere all the time. She's going to do it, give it her best shot. No doubt about it. But she can't be everywhere. And I just don't want a circumstance that if she slips up, but at the same time, if he's out there and is doing nothing, why is that a violation?
This is pure logic delivered through empathy. Simpson strips away all legal jargon and asks the core question: why punish harmless existence? It's a question so simple that it exposes the absurdity of overregulation. His tone here mixes irritation with disbelief, the mark of a judge confronting the machine of blind compliance. Every courtroom viewer feels the weight of that rhetorical punch. The defense doesn't even need to respond. The question answers itself. Law should correct wrongdoing, not anticipate it. Simpson's statement reminds us that justice should always start from innocence, not suspicion.
It shouldn't be a violation. It just shouldn't be.
I don't
And
disagree.
so that part, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not signing that part. I mean, I don't have a doubt in my mind that Ms. Pence, after talking with her, is going to, if he needs to be transported, she will get him out in the most efficient fashion, get him in and out. If she wants to take a walk with him and they want to go for a walk someplace down the driveway, that she's going to do it in that way. I'll put my trust in her before I put my trust in an order that says this. So
Understood.
I'm not signing that.
Okay.
Okay, let me just ask this, because I just want to make sure as to where we're headed down. This case, because it's a felony, is before me, right?
Right.
The other case, it being the Ann Arbor case, is before, do you know who?
I thought it was Judge Valvo. John, do you know if Ms. Remmons, you know that's in front of?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's even been assigned yet.
Okay. You have the ROA from the other?
I can print it. Yeah.
Can you? So, Mr. Evans, is it the people's position, because that's going to go on how I proceed, that I should be at least, or that his conduct in what is now the misdemeanor case, is there going to be a hearing on it being a violation of his bond in this case?
I don't think that that's necessary. I think we're kind of doing that right now. But I don't think that that's necessary. I know that he's pending competency right now in September. I think that's when his next, in front of you, I think his next hearing date is September.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm aware, like the idea of the whole doing the stipulation was, I've got an older gentleman who has some mental health issues, and I have a very loving and caring wife doing her absolute best to try and care for that individual, and yet, the situation as it was seemed to break down because, as your honor noted, she can't be everywhere all at once doing all of the things. And so this incident happened and he ended up getting arrested again for it. So I'm trying to find a way where I can, I think decidedly, like, we all understand that jail is probably not doing Mr. Pence a whole lot of good right now.
Finally, even the prosecution concedes the point. Jail serves no rehabilitative function here. This is a rare alignment between both sides. Empathy over punishment. When the prosecutor admits jail isn't helping, it dismantles the illusion of equal punishment. Rehabilitation must replace retribution for the cognitively impaired. You can sense the courtroom exhale as logic returns. What follows is collaboration, not confrontation. A shared human effort to manage, not condemn. The prosecutor's tone shows reluctant respect for the defense and the judge alike. This is what mature justice looks like. Adversaries recognizing shared purpose.
But I also have to be mindful of the situation as it presents itself with the victim, and I want to try and make sure that Mr. Pence can be released into an environment that's going to be suitable for him, where he can be cared for. And when I talked to Mr. Margolis, when he reached out to me, I said, ideally a unit would be helpful, probably for him and his wife. I've never intended for them to move out of their home. That's not my intention at all. or I need a team of people that can look after him. And so we started getting into the minutia of how this could potentially work. And then this driveway thing kind of became an issue. And I said, hey, is this something that we think we can work on? And we both said, okay, yeah, we can work with this. This is what it's going to take to try and make everybody comfortable.
You know what? Though I'm not going to isolate him.
No, I understand where
I'm just not. It's not going to happen. So, I mean, like I said, the driveway thing is out. I get everything else that's being said. I don't mind any part of the order except really what is the last paragraph.
It was added at the 11th hour, Judge.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to blame.
Let's go back to hour 10 and take it out.
This is the administrative reset, the cleanup after conviction of conscience. Judge Simpson directs revisions like a craftsman repairing his own system. It's a quiet assertion of control, not dominance. The speed and precision of his instruction show a judge deeply aware of time, law, and human fatigue. Removing the clause is more than editing. It's correction of moral imbalance. This small procedural act restores integrity to the hearing. By the end, everyone in that room knows this isn't just another docket entry. It's precedent for compassion done right.
Okay.
Not doing it. And then the only other part, since we don't have a hearing until September, is I want once, ma'am, you get sort of your schedule set as to how you're going to do it, because I'm sure it's probably a mix for you right now and you're just trying to sort it out. But I'd like that resolved in the next 7 to 10 days. Let's put 10 days. And then I want to see what the anticipated schedule is so that the court has a copy of what is supposed to be happening at any given period of time.
Is that agreeable?
Yes, sir.
Will that work for you?
That'll work.
Okay.
Do you want that in the proposed stip and order?
I want at least that it will be provided to the court
Okay.
what that scheduling will be within, just give it 10 days. Because he's
Okay.
going to need to get to the VA and she's going to be trying to sort everything in the world out at this point, as well as trying to deal with him. Okay. You think you can do that? Will that be enough time for you?
It should be.
Okay.
I actually had an appointment this morning, for another caregiver. But so it's happening.
Okay. All right. And that's going to take some time because the reality is you've got your friend, but she's your friend.
Right.
Bringing a stranger in, I got to make sure I get it. Okay. Okay. So we'll deal with that way. And then just, you had a PR what before? 5,000. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce his bond after hearing to a $5,000 personal recognizance bond. So I'm going to release him to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release him on a PR. I'm going to indicate that he's to be released to his wife. All right, only.
This moment is both resolution and relief. A personal recognizance bond means trust. The court releases him on his promise, not his wallet. It's faith in human responsibility over financial leverage. By naming the wife as custodian, the judge reaffirms that love can sometimes substitute for surveillance. This bond order doesn't just free a man, it restores a marriage strained by institutional pressure. For those watching, this is a rare legal victory defined not by triumph but by grace. Simpson's tone says it all. This isn't leniency. It's the law at its most merciful.
Okay, so you're the only one that can come get him. You would be anyway, but you're the only one that can come get him. Just make sure you have ID with you, all right? With the conditions that I've stated on the record, which I'm approving the part of the stipulation other than the last paragraph regarding the driveway. So with all of those other conditions, with the added provision that within 10 days, that defendant will provide the schedule of care
Caregivers.
for him
To the court.
to the court, so that I have that, so that we're looking at. Okay. I don't. Okay. You know what? If she wants to look over at her husband, I'll wait.
Oh, no, I was just.
No, I know what you were doing. She. All right. Is there anything else?
Um,
Go ahead.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I completely understand that the court's not ordering the driveway provision. I totally understand that, and I'm obviously the court's gonna order that. And just so I know, just so that we can just be, we know that this is, and I think the wife has understood that this can be an area of concern for Mr. Pence. So just be mindful, right? So that all the caregivers know that this is kind of a problematic area. I obviously want the best for his wife, but I don't want there to be any further issues. And I think this is kind of just a good way if we're all just kind of mindful about it. And I'm not asking for any conditions. I'm just trying to reiterate for the good of everybody. Let's just be mindful of the situation.
I think everybody's got it. I do. I appreciate that, I guess, Mr. Emmons. Everybody has it. It's just,
We got it, Your Honor.
sometimes people just need to be a little bit more compassionate. And sometimes if somebody's screaming at you, sometimes you just do nothing. And you just let them yell. I have to do that every day, sometimes with attorneys. And they just yell. You let them get it all out and move on. Sometimes, we can think that Mr. Pence, because he's where he is now, doesn't have or feel emotion. He does. They come out maybe where people don't get it. And, maybe people just need to get it. All right. So that's how it's going to be. I don't know whether or not you're also this, that if a circumstance arises, I would rather have a provision. I'll include this. I can't guarantee that it will work. That if there's a provision, or that if there is a violation or alleged violation of the bond conditions, that the defendant would then be, the defendant must remain then indoors pending a hearing with the court. And to use all efforts not to take him into custody. All right, that's what I want. So I don't know that that will work, because the police, if they arrive, they're going to have to do what they're going to do. But maybe if somehow or another that's in the order, and can't put that in.
Your Honor, I can suggest that I will talk to the officer in charge of this matter, and it's kind of his jurisdiction, and kind of say, like, maybe we can look at other alternatives. Maybe if he needs to be hospitalized or taken to the ER or to psych ER or something like that, some kind of whatever before.
Right. I mean, if that's right, if that's the circumstance where they assess and he may need to be taken to psych ER, then do that. But what I don't want to see happen, if we can avoid it, is I don't want, if he's out there screaming and somehow or another lashes out but doesn't hurt someone, that he's not arrested. because this has been a miserable circumstance for everybody, including Mr. Pence. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if I hear he's getting agitated, I can calm him down.
I know.
So it's only been when I haven't been there that it's escalated.
And we are also contacting Washtenaw County Community Mental Health Emergency Services because there is a 24-hour number they
Right.
have.
And so, ma'am, understand when I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm not doubting you. Sometimes what I have to prepare for, if everything falls through the cracks, what will happen? And when I look at this circumstance, the worst thing in the world that has happened, and that is that he got taken to jail. And then everybody's trying to figure out how to get him out safely and get everybody out safely. And counsel knows me, and if something happens and we got to get a hearing, I'd rather him be locked in the house, brought here, and we'll do it a lot quicker than we were able to do this. Brought here, have a hearing, let's figure out what happened, let's figure out what hole we may not have thought of, what we got to patch. That's what I'm saying. Nothing I have said, and please understand this, nothing that I have said in any way is to say that you can't do what you do with him. Because I believe it. In all honesty, I'm putting that in. I want that put in, but I don't think we're going to have a problem.
I don't either, Judge, and she didn't. I don't understand. I think she was thinking she could do it all herself, and I think she now knows that she can't. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, I waited too long to get caregivers. And in hindsight, I need more help than I realize.
Really? You waited too long.
I think so.
I hope you're not feeling guilty about that.
You bet I am.
You shouldn't be. So, and I'm going to.
Your Honor, for a long time, I was taking him for grocery shopping, my dentist appointment. When I wanted to go work out, he would go with me. I would take him with me. He would go. If he didn't want to go, I need to take a nap. Okay, after he took a nap, we'd go. So he would go with me. I left him alone a couple of times, and this is what happened. The last one where he violated bond was, it was a humid day. I didn't think he would be outside. And I was a quick trip. I didn't think to take him. And this is what happened. I was only gone for a few minutes. So yes, I realize now I can't leave him alone. I understand that.
My question to you, or my statement to you, is whether or not you feel guilty about waiting. And you said, yes, you do, but I'm going to tell you what, you don't. Because anybody that doesn't see this for what it is, you're a wife trying to take care of your husband and using everything you had to do that, because these other people around, they didn't make that commitment. You made that commitment. You did everything you could. And maybe the best I could do fell just a little bit short. But that doesn't mean I should feel guilty about it. I agree. You know, I don't know that I've ever said this before, but I'll tell you that a lot of people, as they get up in age, he's lucky. Mr. Pence is a very fortunate man. And he's fortunate because of you.
Not so much when you have cognitive impairment.
Fortunate. He knows it. That's why when you say he listens to you, that's why. we're gonna get, well, I've got this case. We'll get through this, man. Okay? And we'll do our best just to try not to make the punitive side of our criminal justice system. It doesn't need to be. That's not what this is about, as far as I'm concerned in this case. This is about just trying to get to something that's right for everybody, but certainly right for Mr. Pence, and see what we can do. Okay. Maybe, not that I'm interfering in any other case, but maybe if people want to let them pay for the window and the other thing, they can let that part of the criminal case go. I don't know what punishing with another case does, but I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I feel it.
It's your courtroom, Your Honor.
Absolutely. What I want to say. All right.
I'll have a revised order to you by within 30 minutes of my getting to the office.
All right. Anything else from the people?
No, Your Honor. If I may take my leave, I gotta get to that bench trial.
All right. Take care.
Good luck, John. Thanks.
This is set for the original bond violation hearing on Thursday this week. Does that need to happen?
I can get.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, we're going to
And he
stipulate.
said we were kind of doing that now.
We're going to adjourn the PCC, the bond, or all that.
So it's a bond violation and his fee, he doesn't have a PCC.
He has an exam.
Correct. He has a competency in September,
September?
but when he was reviewed by the magistrate, bond violation, it was set on the 11th. Just for the bond violation.
Oh, okay. When's his competency?
Not till September, end of September.
26 or something.
Emily's looking it up now.
September 20th.
19.
Oh, it's 19.
Yeah, we're in here on different days. All right, tell you what. I'll just solve the problem for you. Kick the bond violation hearing till September 19th.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Not from us, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your teenage stands adjourned.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Judge Simpson ends this hearing with what might be the purest summary of justice. Balance. This case wasn't about guilt. It was about humanity in conflict with structure. He saw a veteran, a devoted wife, and a system overwhelmed by good intentions colliding with bad processes. By refusing to criminalize age, illness, or confusion, Simpson preserved the essence of compassionate law. His rulings send a clear message. Justice isn't about removing risk. It's about managing it with empathy. This hearing will stay in memory not for its legal complexity, but for its moral simplicity. If you found this case as powerful and thought-provoking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns. Only here on Trial Truth.